Well, I was told to get some questions for these guys. But what I'd really like to do is just start the conversation with a couple questions, and then turn it to y'all and just find out what you want to know. I've had the privilege of spending a lot of time with these guys, and I think that I have a couple directions that I think I'd like to go with it. And this is really a question for. It could be a question for you, Brent, or Gene, but you guys were both high-producing agents, selling 120 houses for a year as a single agent. Your team selling, I know, 20+ million. No, I'm sorry, 100 million. You made a shift, and it's a mental shift from going from, all right, this is my focus. Because when I met you, it was at the Kinder Reese conference. You'd come, you had your open house on steroids. You never spoke about recruiting agents, ever. And it was always light your hair on fire or the open house on steroids. You could probably grab that. I want to just know, because and you were with Keller Williams, and there's an obviously a profit share opportunity with that. When you were with Keller Williams, now, obviously, Gene did very well. #1 recruiter, 6 out of 9 years. He made the shift, and I wanted to ask him, but since he's not here, I want to find out what made you have that mental shift where this is how I'm going to choose to grow my business versus how you were choosing to grow your business before.
Right. Well, it was just profitability. I mean, I met people at Keller Williams making 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, maybe 80,000 a year in profit sharing, and that to me and probably all of you was like, what's that going to do, right? I mean, we all make a lot more than that. So it didn't appeal to me at all. Now, I certainly refer people to Keller Williams just because I love the company, love the culture. I'm very learning-based. Kellers weren't learning-based. I'm like, wow, this is great. RE/MAX, they left me alone, but there was no – the 12 years I was at RE/MAX, there was no culture. They all went very maverick agents, do your own thing, which I liked. Leave me alone. Let me do what I want to do. I liked it. I went to Keller. They left you alone, but if you wanted to engage, you could go to Mega Camp, family reunions. So I loved it. I referred dozens of agents to Keller just because I liked the company. Had zero effort and focus into actually trying to do it and then when I saw the eXp thing, the 2.1 million in a 5-year period by enrolling 25 to 40 agents, I'm like, that looks like it'll work. And I just kind of got it. I got it. And I got excited. And if anybody here didn't go to Las Vegas, who went to Las Vegas last month? Anybody go? Raise your hand. Didn't we go to Scottsdale, our Scottsdale event in Las Vegas, right? What did you guys think? Pretty cool? Did you get it at a higher level? Absolutely. Come in January 14th, 15th, and 16th. There'll be hundreds of agents there. You have to have 7 personally sponsored to come. But there'll be people speaking on stage that have just enrolled 40 people in 4 months. And their groups are exploding while yours aren't. And it's going to irritate you. Walsh and Tierney from Dallas, It's a long answer.
That's awesome. No, it's a great answer. You weren't here for that question, but I wanted to pose it to you. Single agent in the 90s or 80s, selling 120 homes a year.
Yeah, 80s. That was 80s.
Was in the 80s with the fax machine in the front seat and the big, right? Yeah, no internet. Yeah. Caveman real estate sales. You were selling caves.
Yep.
Joking. The question I had is, when did you make? Because you made a major shift from being in the sales position and opening up the Realty Executives. You sold, or you were a broker owner, right? But when did you make the mental shift? And the reason why I'm getting down to this is this particular group. We've never had this conversation. It's always been about how do we get from 100 to 200, from 200 to 400, from 400 to 1,000 home sales. It's always been our focus, and we got really good at it. But we found, you figured out there was a better way of leveraging, a better way of leading. How did you make the shift? What made you have the shift? How did you make that decision?
Well, I got into management in 1999. I was raising 5 kids at the time, and I could sell. But if I could have my weekends off, I kind of like that. The way I talked my wife into it, I said, what's 2 times 52? She goes, 104. I said, the owner of the office said I can have 104 days off. And I said, if that is real, I've never had 104 days off in my life as a realtor in a year. I mean, I'm being real. I worked my tail off, right? Maybe one day off a week. So I became a manager, became pretty successful at KW, and I started receiving $1,000 a month in profit share in the year 2000. Just $1,000 a month. I went, I like that. What's that all about? I had attracted 5 people my first year, 5 years before, and it turned into $1,000 a month. I didn't do anything. And then I went, well, I'm going to start focusing on it. So I started going to NAR. I helped start the first office in Connecticut, the first office in Chicago, just by going to NAR and running into people. That was my only lead generation thing, was NAR. Isn't that weird? Then it was $2,000 a month. Then it was $3,000 a month, and I just thought I won the lotto. And then I understood residual income. I don't call it passive income because it's not passive. You have to work to get it. It's just residual. It just comes in, and you don't have any overhead for it. You don't have any, that kind of things. And then the only thing you can do in franchises, and I'll talk to the franchise folks, to get any other residual income is to own an office. And that's nightmarish. But profit share, I still get it. I thank Gary Keller and Mo Anderson and Joe Williams and everybody I knew there. I thank them because I still receive about $170,000, $175,000 a year in profit share, and I'm not there. But I helped grow Keller Williams. Is that what? It was like a thank you.
Yeah, and you started at Keller Williams. How many agents were there?
1994, there were less than 1,000. 1994. So it took us, I asked people, do you know how long it took us to get to 100 agents in Dallas? They go, no. I said it was 5 years. It was 1999. In 1994, it took 5 years to get to 100 Keller Williams agents in Dallas. They go, what? No, that can't be real. I've heard they just exploded. I said, no, my wife and I were there. We were agents, and we were selling homes. And they thought we were Sherman-Williams. They thought, no, you
Keller
guys
Williams,
do paint. They thought you did paint. And I said, no. So here's my thing with residual is I got into management first, and then I felt the residual. I owned offices. I started buying offices. I mean, I really started offices. And, ooh, I love the crow. Rooster. So I got fans. But I would tell you this, the light bulb was off when you have 5 kids at college at the same time. Here's the answer. And I didn't have to write any checks. Because I was making $1,000 a month. My wife was making $1,000 a month. We were making $2,000 a month in residual. And I said, honey, we can put these kids through college and not take out a loan. That was the light bulb for me, and I've never looked back.
It's amazing. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit with Jay. Thank you. Appreciate that. What's the number one thing you've learned over the last 12 months since you made the decision?
100%. It's the power of residual income. I've never experienced it. That was a good. Obviously, he agrees.
Maybe we should let him in.
Yeah. So Mike and I have built a lot of businesses, and we've managed a lot of people, and you're never off. You're never off. You're always on. And when you're not there, you're always thinking about it. And you're always thinking about, man, I got to get back. I got to make sure I get this agenda put together for this meeting. I got to get these people. I got to get this hire made. I've got to do this. I got to do that. You're never off. And the bigger it gets, the heavier it is. It didn't take long. I think that one of the brilliant things about this model is it doesn't take long for the impact to hit, and you realize, oh my gosh, this is the opportunity of my lifetime. And that's been the last 12 months. I've learned a lot, but what to do with my time in the mornings. I told the story the other night at dinner. I was literally watching. And I remember all the way through 2007, 2008. The first person would call me every time was Michael Reese. He called before. He never would call me at 5 o'clock. It was always at 4 something, right? Just to make that little impact of it's time to get up and go. And that's just Michael Reese, and we powered through the last 20 years building businesses, having a lot of great success. But you're always on, and it's just a huge get. And I don't know that everybody will experience it until you start getting revenue share that's coming in that pays all your bills. And once you get to that point, you realize that I'm now able to do more of this because that's where you're going to get the most leverage. And that's been my last 12 months. It's been the most unbelievable experience. I couldn't have imagined it to be what it is today. Unreal.
That's amazing. Did you have a follow-up question? No. Oh, okay. Sorry. Does anyone have, for that first round before I go to the second round, anybody got a question? No? All right, let's talk about FUD. Not Elmer FUD, but FUD FUD. And obviously there was a lot more to that, but it's still going on. I just literally, we're bringing the Keller Williams team over when I get back. And the number one thing that we have to overcome is the KW FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that they're, I mean, we're literally inserted to every market center meeting. We are the talk. And they actually put a slideshow presentation against how to sell against eXp. At least in my market, that's happening. What would you say? I mean, there's a lot, but I want to actually direct this to Gene, because we've actually had great conversations about it. You have a financial background. Most of us don't. So when you get hit with the question, yeah, but they're not profitable. I know there's only so much you can say on the subject, but of the stuff you can speak about, to break it down to a fourth grade level, because we have to do that, not just for us to really get our arms around it, because we're not going to go and get our MBA in finance to try to understand a financial spreadsheet from a publicly traded company. But what could you share with us when we're hit with that, especially from KW people?
Really simple. May 21st, write it down, 2018. That was the day we were uplisted to NASDAQ. If you guys know the stock market at all, and you can look at them and go, that was a huge day. I had two of the #1 producers in America call me that day and said, you guys are for real now. Because when you get uplisted, guys, you have to make so much money. You have to show some, it's scrutinized to death. You can't get on NASDAQ without being legit. So like Brent said in his thing earlier, when we were over the counter, they could say, oh, they're just, they're like Wolf on Wall Street. They're just like a pink sheet or whatever. And we didn't have anything for that other than, yes, we are. I'm hoping one day we will be uplisted. Guess what? When we got uplisted, that day is all over. I tell them, check our quarterlies out. We believe in no debt. All you have to remember, you'll see our financials when they come out. There will be no debt on them, no short term, no long term. That's huge for a company. It'll show, now again, wait until the financials come out, but it'll show about $22 million in the bank. $22 million in the bank at the end of the third quarter with no debt. We started the year at $4.7 million in the bank with no debt. So I do lead with numbers because I think numbers first, they don't lie. And then I tell them, by the way, we've gone from, write it down, 6,500 agents at the end of last year to right now we're short of right at 15,000. I said, do you understand that's never, ever been done in the history of real estate? Ever. I've got the charts. So when you grow like that, by the way, it's not an agent count thing. It's a quality agent count thing. I'm looking in the room here. Who do we have? Oh my gosh, we added 500 million in Texas with 2 groups just the other day. 300 million and 220. Are you kidding me? This is not about recruiting people. Like that's what the competitors were saying. Well, I've heard you have to recruit. I said, no, you don't. You just have to come over and sell homes, take 5% of your commissions, and buy stock at a what? 20% discount. You'll have some leg. But I would say this. I never, ever challenge them. This is going to be very hard because I am prideful. I hate to say that because I've been with Glenn and I've seen how hard these people have worked. And sometimes I want to get combative. I know that's hard to believe because I want to say, who said that? Or why did they say that? I just blow it off and go really quick. Sometimes I laugh. Actually, when people bring up negatives and they bring up a falsehood, I will just laugh. I said, that is funny. And they go, what do you mean? I said, that is the goofiest thing I've ever heard. Who told you that? And they go, well, my manager. I said, so does your manager work at eXp? And they go, no. And I said, well, the manager's never called me. Have him call me because that's just goofy. So sometimes I won't even, does that make sense? Because they're trying to say we're not going to make it. They still are. 15,000 agents, the 3rd largest real estate company in America.
But Gene, if you could literally earn all the money in revenue share, the whole 16,000, how could they be making any money?
Well, we get that all the time, but you got to understand it's the 80-20 rule, but with us, it's almost the 95-5 rule. 5% of us are going to get into attraction. It's just life. And tell them it's the 80-20 rule, right? and you're bored. What's the deal? Well, 20% of us do almost all the business. I said, well, in the attraction too, we have agents come. They love it. They love the stock. They love the ownership. They love the training. They love the camaraderie. They love our events. Just bottom line is they never get into attraction.
So what would you say is a percentage of all the agents we have, as a ballpark, I know this isn't a statement, have more than 5 people that they've brought in?
I know the number. It's 5%. So only 5% of our, I've tracked it with me.
So what you're saying is that most people, they're not joining to come and recruit agents. 95% of them are here for other reasons.
Well, here's the thing. They've never been taught. See, here's the thing, too. Like they've never been taught.
Right.
So what happens to people, they think they might do it, right, Brent? So they come over, they get excited, and then they try it for a couple times. Of course, they spew eXp, and they do it wrong, and then they don't get good results. They go, well, I'll just go back to what I'm used to doing.
It's like joining a gym, right?
Yeah.
I have many memberships.
You have many memberships and gyms. So what happens is people go, yeah, I think I'll try it. Ooh, God bless me, I spilled this. Let me get a napkin for me. I can't even hold my coffee. Thank you. Here, grab that cup. Grab that cup here.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
This? So I believe you need to prepare people as you're talking to them. If you go back to Coldwell Banker and say, I'm going to RE/MAX, what do you think? What do you think your manager, or as the stars in this room, what do you think they're going to say? That's a great idea. Or they're going to tell you why it would be bad for you to go to RE/MAX. And if you're at RE/MAX, you're thinking about going to Century 21 or Keller Williams, and I left RE/MAX, and they freaked out and told me every reason why Keller Williams would destroy my life with passion. Do you guys remember that? You ever switched to company? So I said, when you go back to wherever it is you work, if you go, hey, I'm thinking about eXp, it doesn't matter where you're thinking about going. They are going to tell you why it is a terrible idea. They're not going to go, wow, that's such a great idea. They're such a better company. Doesn't matter whether it's, so you need to tell people that, right? And then other thing, to go, be prepared. They're going to offer you ownership in their franchise. They're going to offer you a 100% split. They're going to offer you a free office. They're going to offer you all kinds of stuff. You need to prepare them. And I go, if you want to trade the cow for magic beans, more of what you don't want, right, then accept that offer. But I like to prepare them mentally for the onslaught that's going to hit them. And I go, you will not get an unbiased opinion from your manager. I would not talk to management team, talk to people who are not a part of your team. If that makes sense, not at your company, because they're going to tell you it's a terrible idea.
Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you. This is actually one from Kevin Shoemaker, who thought that this might be a good idea. Any strategy or approach, and there's some people in this room who fall actually into this category, for bringing an office over that has 50 to 100 agents, doing it the right way? Have you experienced it done the wrong way? Even easing in, is there anything that you can kind of share with that?
Yes, there's a right way and a wrong way. The right way, forget about the wrong way. The wrong way is just to announce it one day and have one big meeting. Wrong way. Right way, we moved over 72 agents, $300 million a year. Small independent, $300 million a year. Pretty good, huh? 72 agents in Dallas. And we said, here's what you do. Take your top 10 to 20 agents. We will meet them on Monday. We'll do a presentation for them alone, and we'll do one-on-ones with them all day Monday. That's what we did. So you get the top 10, 15, 20 influencers on, right? And they were pumped. I mean, at lunch, they were pumped. We hadn't even done the one-on-ones yet. We did the presentation. They're pumped. And the next day, they had the other 50 come in with the 25, and all 72 agents came. All 72 agents came. But if you do it the wrong way, which is you go, I'm going to have one big meeting, and 72 people come, you have the detractors in the room. You got to have, right? I've done it right and wrong, and that's the right way to do it. It's very simple. And by the way, it's hard to move over a whole company, isn't it?
Yeah.
Expect to lose people. Just so you know, when we got Mitch Reebok, Mitch brought over, had 75. He went down to 50 because RE/MAX came in and hammered his group and took 25 of them. But he came over with 50, and those 50 have turned into almost 400 in 12 months.
So, when you brought over the Next Home franchise guy, how did you approach him, and what did you say to him?
I was the one who did that.
Oh, sorry.
Same thing I say to everybody, whether it's a brand new agent, a next home franchise, a mega producer, anyone. I call them up and I'm just like, hey, Mitch, how you been? How you been? I know it's been years. We did that deal on Castle Peak, or we met at Mike Ferry or Brian Buffini, and I get caught up. And I said, well, awesome. You doing good? Yeah, okay, great. Let me tell you why I'm calling. Pivot. I mean, it's that quick. It's 60 seconds. I'm dying. You had to have heard about eXp, right? I'm excited, and I, you got to be you, but that's unfortunately me, right? And they're like, well, yeah, I've seen some people on Facebook, and yeah, it's not for me, right? And I'm like, okay, I got that, but let me ask you a question. We've been friends. I respect you. I've seen you speak on stage. You actually saw their brilliant short webinar that was a jaw dropper. You saw the webinar. And they go, well, no, I haven't seen that. I go, okay, so here's the deal. You don't even know what you're saying no to. You're like me. I was like you. You got to see the webinar, and then you can know it is brilliant. Would you watch it for me? No, I will not watch it for you, Gil, right? There's nobody who's going to say that, And I maybe had 12 people who say, I'm just too dang busy. No? Oh, well, move on. But I say the same thing to everybody for me, and that's what I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they go,
So
okay,
that question is, what was the question?
Is he setting up a webinar on like a shared screen?
So his question is he setting up a webinar while you can get on a shared screen and setting a time where he can sit with them? I just want to say it so everyone can hear it. Yeah.
Zoom is phenomenal. It's great for that. So yes, that's a lot of you just email it off and then you play chase. Bad idea. I always made appointments. This is great. When's a time where you could be in front of your computer? I need you with a good internet connection in front of your computer. Tomorrow, the next day, later next week, and then they go, yeah, next week, great. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, great. Morning or afternoon, always two choices. Afternoon, great. 3, 4, 5 o'clock, boom. Book it, good. And then I text them reminders. Say, don't forget, we're on tomorrow at 5 o'clock. That morning, hey, don't forget, we're on today at 5 o'clock, an hour before. Hey, don't forget, we're on for. You do all that? Hell yeah. Really was focused on it. It was so much fun. And now we literally travel the world. We book trips. It is awesome. And it will happen for all of you if you focus on it. It's not maybe. It will happen because we are going to help you. Albie will help you. This man will help you. Jay will help you. I will help you. And lose the thought, well, I don't want to bother you. Stop it. Mm-hmm. We want to be bothered. If we're busy, we'll tell you, right? But we want to help you. Try me. Try Jay. We'll all help you. I'll be sorry.
That's awesome. One of the things
that's a question: who all's been on a call with me in the last 90 days? Raise your hand. I'm never too busy, guys. I'm never ever too busy.
Yep.
So just book the time. Not enough of you are doing it, and are not doing it near enough. I got more free time in my schedule than I know what to do with. That's a real problem for me right now.
So one of the questions that I get asked the most is people are stuck with their agent attraction. They're stuck. And they always say, what do people just pick up the phone and call you? One of the things that we've been really focused on, and Michael's been focused on. I mean, the thing that ties you guys together is you've been making deposits in real estate agents' lives for the last 20 plus 30 some years through training. You've done a ton of training. That's how I met you at EGS. You've been putting on EGSs. You've been doing 101 ways to lead generate. How have you been? Obviously, there's strategy involved in it, but we didn't. None of us really knew 5 years ago, 6 years ago, anything about that it would be eXp. What would you say to someone that wanted to start an attraction deposit-based type of a strategy to start teaching and dropping value into agents so that they can then start making withdrawals?
Here's the number one way to lead generate. Do you guys have mortgage affiliations, title, all the affiliations, right? Home warranties, insurance agents. Just so you know, they know other agents, don't they? So you go to every single one and say, look, here's what my script. I want to know the up-and-comers. I want to know people I really don't know. I want to know that agent that's over at Coldwell Banker, been there 2 years, and you look at them and you know they're a superstar because these affiliates know. They start getting 3 deals a month from them, 4 deals a month. I said, dude, you do me a favor. Could you just tell me who those people are? I'll do everything from there. And they go, what do you mean? You guys can get lists of people you don't know, but what you're going to do, and it's okay if I call them and just tell them, I've heard you were awesome. And I don't even tell them to use their name. I just call them and say, man, everybody I talked to, the last 3 affiliates I talked to said, you were just killing it. I've never met you. Hey, let's go to breakfast or lunch, and I would love to compare my 5-year plan with your 5-year plan. And let's talk real estate. Now, I know that's a sideways. I'm not talking about eXp, but I'm going to meet them and get in a relationship. I'm a relationship guy. Now, I can tell you, we could all kill it if we just did that.
It's huge.
Plus, do you got to go to the dentist tomorrow? Do you got to go, when I'm in the dentist chair, who do you use as your realtor? I'm looking for really good realtors. Everybody you know knows a realtor. Yep. And then we go, well, how do we find them? Stand in the Starbucks line and ask the person behind you, hey, do you have a good realtor I could use? They go, yeah, I'd use Todd. Todd, you're kidding. Who's Todd? Oh, he's 6'5", good-looking dude. You know, boom, boom. And I go, this is not hard. It is not. It's actually easier than selling homes. But you've never been taught how to go get other realtors. Rob and I talk about it all the time because Rob and I did this. Rob moved to Dallas, didn't know anybody. And he calls me, he says, Gene, I'm just going to go around and start talking to people and asking them if they know a realtor. Oh.
Got a question?
We all have this ego as we think about our businesses, as we think of ourselves as the real estate agent. We would never normally have that conversation. We got to get past that. You know, that's the opportunities out. Everybody knows a real estate agent. Everybody usually knows 2 or 3 real estate agents. That's a great idea.
So, you know, from 2000 to 2009, people talked to me about Keller Williams. And I was a RE/MAX guy. I was a top guy in California. Doggone Keller Williams agents talk to us all the time about Keller Williams. And here the other, I'm sick of Keller Williams, all the other RE/MAX agents. But 9 years later, it took me 9 years till my gate was blown open by the market correcting to where I was in enough pain where I go like, yeah, what I was doing ain't working so well anymore. And they go, hey, we're going to do this, this, and this for you, and you can keep your team and all that. And I became interested. 9 years. There are people who are going to join us 9 years from now at eXp. And then, well, they'll miss it all. Are you kidding me? I recruited 55 people to Keller Williams, and then then they made me a team leader, and I recruited 177 9 years later. Then those agents told people who told people, resulting in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of agents 9 years after they've been talking to me. And not everyone's in it's just a timing issue, right? So people are going to come. You got to stay the course.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, and over the years, Jay, if you want to talk about just, you know, the deposits, and it boils down to the relationships ultimately, right? What a lot of Gene was talking about was, you know, making those 2 calls and those contacts. But if you're making those to warm contacts, people that you already have a relationship with, what are some of the things that you would suggest to some of the people who maybe they're terrified of public speaking? A lot of people are. What are the other things they could do where they're maybe not standing up in front of 100 people talking, but that they could literally go home and do where it's not going to make them want to puke?
It's really not that hard. It's just be genuine and be interested in people and ask them what they're trying to accomplish and what goals they are. I mean, everyone in this room knows how to help someone navigate from how to go from here to there. So to me, that's the easiest thing. And the other thing I would say is, like, I used to be petrified to public speak until I had something I knew really, really well, and then I could just share it with people. And that was just, for me, it was a trigger. When I used to do radio commercials, I couldn't go in and talk to the mic because it was like this, and it made me nervous. Right? Like, I just couldn't talk to it, so I got to call in, man. I can't talk to that damn thing sitting like that. So it's a mindset thing. But when you know something really well and you're really passionate about it, like all of us are about this business, it's not hard when you just want to help people. And that's just the approach I take on every phone call. It's real simple.
That's awesome. Who else has got a question? Awesome.
So, Gove, I know you talked a little bit about in the beginning people's mindsets, their limiting beliefs, and you know we all have those stories, and sometimes we forget those stories, and sometimes those stories to where we overcome our fears at a young age. Gene, I would love for you to share the Willie Mays story with everybody.
Ooh, I love the Willie Mays story. Why did I bring up Willie Mays? When I was in 7th grade, Paul Olson and I, and by the way, Paul Olson has about 100,000 shares of eXp stock. We were 12 years old, and we're at his house, and we're in 7th grade, and in the summer, and I look at him, I go, let's call Willie. And we're in Phoenix, Arizona. And we go, yeah, let's call Willie. Where's he playing? Chicago. So he's playing the Cubs. So we start calling hotel rooms in Chicago. Now you got to understand, this is 1967, and we're luckily at Paul's house because long distance was expensive. And we were just calling hotels. And we finally called a hotel, and they said, are the Giants there? And they go, yeah. Is Willie there? Willie Mays? And they go, yes. Now, you got to understand, we're in 7th grade. Our voices have not changed. We were like 11-year-old girls. Willie! So, answer, hello. And we go, Willie! No, this is Bobby. Bobby Bonds. Barry Bonds' dad. That's who his roommate was, right? He goes, no, here's Willie. Boom. Willie got hello? We go, Willie! 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 Oh, my God. I don't know what we talked about. But for 3 minutes, that was our hero. We got to talk to our hero. I mean, we talked to Willie Mays. And when you think about it, we don't have heroes nowadays, right? You couldn't even talk to that hero, right? And I think back on it, and I go, Paul Olson to this day is my best friend. From grade school, from high school, right? You get those best friends that doesn't matter what happens, divorces, whatever, kids. All of his codes are 24, 24, 24, and all my codes are what? 24, 24, 24. Well, you're kind of like going, oh, dude, you can break into anything I have. But what I want to share with you is the fact that, you make the phone call. You make the phone call. We talk about it to this day. We were I couldn't believe we called Willie Mays. It's going to live with me for a long time, right?
You and me are calling someone famous today.
We are calling famous. We got a couple famous. We're not going to say it, but we're calling famous people today that we know in the business because we went, why don't we call them? Why don't we call them? We're here. We're going to call them. And first thing I'm going to say is, I'm just thinking about you. Hello. I was just thinking about you. Just a second. So was
Brent. Yeah.
We were both thinking about you. How's it going? Tell me about yourself. I mean, that's going to be the lead in. And then it's going to be well, why are you guys calling me?
By the way, can I share something? This is real short. Here's my numbers. I have had about 178 people watch the webinar, to which 67 are now with our company. Those are my total numbers. And I didn't call strangers. I called people I knew. And that's all I ever did. I know that's not a big number. So call people you know and come from contribution.
Go show it to 400 every year.
All right, this one's real quick. Favorite technology that you're using right now?
Yellow notepad.
My notepad, the binders.
I'm just a little bit above these guys. Excel is what I'm using. I'm tracking everything in Excel.
Excel? I love Calendly. Calendly is amazing for sending that out and getting. And the reason I bring it up is because Jay and I use it, and we were telling everyone, hey, you can get in our calendar. We're saying, and callalby.com is the little URL that goes right to my calendar. You just hit the button, register, and it goes into my calendar, and that spot's yours. So it's like, I don't know. You guys may want to save up before you can afford it. It's like $19 a month or something.
I can't afford it. I would tell you this, technology-wise, when I first went out and met Brent, and he showed me his yellow notebook, I said, dude, let me show you my pad. So we did the same thing. I just write names down. Here's the reason. You got to understand, and I understand. I did Excel spreadsheets all my life. They still use them at Texas Instruments that I did. But the problem is when you write something down in your own handwriting, there's something that goes through it. You remember. I actually make my lists out every month by hand. People go, why? And I go, I don't know why. But when I write Susie's name down, I go, man, I haven't called her in a while. And it just sinks in. It really does. And when people used to shadow me when I was a team leader at KW and I was #1 in the nation, they'd come spend a day with me. They'd go, we want to see your systems. And I'd take out my notebook and show them all the names. And they'd go, that's your system? And I go, yeah, but are you doing it every day? 2 a day. 2 a day. And my agents know 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock is when I interview people. 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You guys can make an appointment with me right now at 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock, or 3 o'clock, Central Standard Time, by the way. And I'm okay. And I've already got some in. My agents know that. So basically use us and abuse us, because basically for three-way calls, let us do the close. Right? We tell our agents all the time, you guys think you don't have to close them, let us do it. You know, because, you know, especially if they're KW for me, because I was there 21 years, or any franchise owners or big agents. I like those three. And I was RE/MAX too, and Realty Executives. Those were the three franchises I was with. But anybody big I relate to, because I feel for them when they show me their net. And we'll compare your guys' net later to my rev share. So all of you guys, we'll just be one-on-one. We don't have to do it in front of everybody.
Do we have to add all ours up to?
You guys can
how that's
show me
gonna
your
work?
net, and I guarantee you my rev share is more than your net this month, right? And I didn't sell a home, and I didn't worry about, you know, the inspection and the septic tank and the blah, 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 blah that you guys worry about. And I know what your problem is you guys are worrying. I even with Brent and I play golf together, and I hear him working the business sometimes. I hear him talking in the car, and I'm going, wait, he's still selling homes. He's never heard a conversation I've had about that. Have you?
I haven't.
So
I still have an active team of 23 agents. They get me on the phone, so I'm dealing with.
But what I'm saying is you guys are dealing with a lot more than I am. That's all I'm saying. You're dealing with so much. You know, your
It's
guys.
that mindset.
It's that mindset.
Yeah.
If you just went, you know, when I play golf, I turn off my cell phone, and we have a $10 bet. If the phone rings, if you get on the phone when you're playing golf with us, it's $10. If it's a text, it's $5. Why? Because we want to play golf.
I'm competitive. I won't give any money. I shut my phone off.
I know we shut our phones off now.
How much do you want that? I'm good, Jay. But last March was the first month. Was my 16th month at the company, and I made $118,000 in a month from rev share, monthly income. And in December it was 55, so it doubled in 3 months. And I was stoked about the 55, which was my 13th month, and then it doubled to 118 in March. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I stopped listing homes personally. I gave them all to my team, 100%. They're getting listings for 1.2, 1.3 million, 800, all the stuff I kept. They loved it. My team loved it. And then it just kept going, and now basically it's pretty much darn near double today. And then and by December, hopefully it'll be about 220, which is quadruple of what it was a year ago. Next December, it's even better. But so I no longer sell homes. My team does. I sell homes through my team, but I want to correct it. I am not personally huffing homes anymore. So
I'll say this is the same thing. So my numbers this month, we just crossed over 61,000, so I'm in month 13. And so that's actually, so that would be basically for my 12th month or whatever. So, and there's, you know, Al doing the same thing and Mike doing the same thing. And, you know, to net, I mean, when you do the math, we had $10 million worth of companies. What do you think the margin was across all of those business models? What do you think the amount of people that we had to manage and lead? What do you think the amount of meetings that you have to be a part of? What's all of the lift, and then what's the risk and what's it worth? It could be plus 10% or minus 10%. One could be up, one could be down. And try to, you know, you take all that and you can literally, just like that in 12 months, for 21 years I've been working my ass off. And I've never seen anything that's drugged me to success like this.
How many huddles was that?
We have our conversations every morning. That's the only huddle I'm in. How many huddles are you in right now currently, Al, with your?
Might be 3.
Yeah. So I didn't realize this. I've been working with Al literally every single day since I joined. And I go to Cleveland, one of the last 2 or 3 trips I've been there, and I didn't realize Al has a huddle right before our huddle, and then another huddle, and then he had another huddle, and he had like 4 huddles in a row, and I was like, what in the hell? I didn't know, what are you doing with all these huddles? And I know it's a task. I don't work in any other business. I only do this. You got to understand that was not an easy decision, but it was the right decision. As quickly as you can cash flow it, get to this side of the business where you can focus on it. It makes a huge difference.
Actually, you bring something up, and I want to go back to Brent on this. You separate your P&L from your rev share and your team, correct? We do as well. So your team operates on its own P&L, own income, not the revenue share is a completely different business, if you will.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes.
And you don't have to do it that way. I want to be clear that that's not.
It's fun to do it that way.
It is fun, but you can, and but you don't have to. I'm just making that distinction, right?
What is the monthly, the percentage growth, and when do you feel like you can calculate that? Because it gets kind of crazy in the first, few months, 6 months, or whatever. But what would you say the growth rate per month?
It's pretty easy to figure. Once you get up to 200, 300, 400 agents, right in that range, you'll start growing by 10% a month, minimum. Some month you'll go by 20%, right, or 30. But the 10% is kind of standard. And so, like right now, I have 6,000 agents. So guess how much agents I'm growing per month? 600. It's kind of happened the whole
What does
time.
that look like in because I know you got the Excel sheet over. What does that look like in 12 months at that kind of growth rate? Compound?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You tell them. You're the.
Yeah, you're going to have, well, you'll have probably 24,000 in your group.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Do you know how much you make per person? That Glenn lets me say. As long as you have 40 on the first. $1,000 per person a year. So if you have 1,000 people, you're 1,144. That's 1.1 million he'll make in the next 12 months minimum.
No expenses.
No expenses. So when people go, when they get up to 200 or 300, I have some people right now getting up to 200 or 300. Getting up to 200 or 300, they go, man, I'm only at 230. I can't believe I'm 250. I go, dude, you're going to make 20,000 a month for the next year. And they go, really? Now you got to have a big first tier, right? This is one thing to understand. You can't do it just by getting one Brent Gove and going away. You've got to go wide to make that happen. But so somebody the other day said, well, you have 6,000 people. You're going to make $6 million the next 12 months? I said, well, yeah, is that okay?
It's okay
I'm
by me.
okay with that. Now, when I say that, I think that will be minimum. I think that will be minimum for my next 12 months. And that was 41 months doing this. 41 months. Ooh, that's Dirk Nowitzki, number 41. Good number, too.
So let's think about like the thing that we talked about a couple mornings ago when we had breakfast, because it was an amazing breakfast with these two guys and Mike Reese over here, and James, and we talked about impact and the impact that you're going to be able to have. And is it okay that we go into the? I know we have one Puerto Rican in here. No. There's a couple Puerto Ricans. So you may not know it, but you got a new cousin. His name's Cousin Gene. He's moving to Puerto Rico in a few years. So can you tell the Puerto Rican story, why you're going to Puerto Rico, why you're going to be moving there, and what that's going to save you and what you're going to do with all that cash that's going to save
Well,
you?
on the plane ride over, I worked out. I like to do this. I'm a big bean counter. I said, what am I going to make the next 6 years? And I've actually been very conservative, according to my friend James. I said, in the next 6 years, I'll make $100 million. Now, if I make $100 million, if you live in Puerto Rico, if you're Puerto Rican, what's the tax rate? You guys remember? Yeah, capital gains way down, but 4% compared to 37, 38%. So I ran the numbers. If I stay living in Austin, it's going to save me $40 million. San Juan, here I come. So now I have to live there 6 months, and I've already figured it out with my wife, and I told her it's not because of saving $40 million, but what could we do with that $40 million? And you saw me write down some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the Learjet. It's stuff for our family. It's stuff for actually Puerto Rico. It's stuff, that's what I want to do. I mean, that's what I want to do. Now, if you come from that contribution, that's my next 6 years. Well, I'm going to live past 6 years, so I did the next 6 years. I said, I'll save another $60 million. I don't know about you, but in 12 years, if I could save $100 million, you know, now I know we've argued about this because he says I'm not moving from wherever. I'm just thinking of, I love the United States. I love where I am. I love Texas. I'm a Texan. And I grew up in Arizona, but I'm a Texan. But the bottom line is, you know, if I give that to the government, Jay, what's going to happen, man? Are they going to do anything for us? Or they're just going to pretend like I should have given them more, right? And that upsets me that we write checks. I wrote a check for close to $1 million in taxes this year. I'm sure you guys did too. You guys are high producers. I wrote a check for $912,000. I don't mind saying it, but I don't like it. Do you guys like writing $900,000 checks? I don't. So my thing was I didn't move there soon enough so I could save, right? But I didn't make that much money this year. It's the future years. Because with RevShare, you can actually map it out what you're going to do. Can you guys map out your production in the next 4 years? Well, you can.
I'll share one thing. My greatest regret in eXp was June 2017. I broke all of my personal sales records I ever set for my personal sales, not team sales, at Remax, which I had great months, and Keller Williams. I netted, I think it was like 180,000 net. I didn't sell a building. I just sold a lot of real estate, netted 180,000. Is that a good income for a personal agent? And that month I signed up one person in eXp. And I regret that month. So I sold way too much real estate. Some of you need to stop selling so much. You can carve out time for this. I knew I was on track when I was driving to an $800,000 listing, and I'm driving there going, what a colossal. They're like, hey, we've been listening to your radio show. We love you. Come list our $800,000 home. And I'm driving there going, what a colossal waste of time. It begins and it ends. I'm going to list that home. I'm going to do whatever it takes, and then close. I'm going to get paid, and I'm going to pay taxes and hopefully squirrel some money away and whatever. But it's finite. There's a beginning and an ending, and hopefully I get some referrals. And I realized when I was resenting the time it would take, just an hour or two when I could be calling you guys. And by the way, you saw the only person I called was Jay, and he said no. And so, I moved on. I just called normal people in my town. And my first revenue share check for 10 days was $1,900. Any Keller Williams people here? That's pretty good. I just signed up a handful of people. The next month, 5,000. The next month, 10,000. The fourth month, 10,000. I was disappointed. 10 grand a month. I was like, what is this? It's disgusting. And I was like, I remember being shocked it was only 10,000 a month my fourth month. Told my wife it'll be 15th. The fifth month, it was $25,000 a month. You could do something with $25,000 a month. And then it went all the way to 55 last December. It wasn't that long ago. And then it just kept on cranking. So if you're brand new here and you're just getting started, if you will just start, carve out that time, your revenue share can head north real quick. And today, I still got my team. They do what they do, but I'm focused on the team. So
I'm going to make one question real quick. I got the NAR magazine. When I attract agents, I actually read the NAR magazines. I just kind of thumb through them. And not this year. This is 2018, right? So the first issue of 2017, you can go get it. It's probably in the archives. But our NAR president said there's a problem with realtors, and it was a big article. It was how to retire. That 25% of us don't have the money to ever retire. So I went, oh, this is a great article. 6 pages of how to retire as a real estate agent. Guess what they told you guys how to retire? Invest. Save money. Save money and invest. I went, holy mackerel. Just so you know, if I'm making $6 million a year in RevShare, how much money do I have to save at 3% interest? Just somebody do a calculator. Huh?
200 million.
200 million? So I have to save $200 million. I don't have 200 million in the bank. I have 5 kids and 5 grandkids. They have all my money. But what I'm saying is I read the article and I went, there's nothing in the article about eXp. There will be now. That was January of 2017. There are going to be so many stories of agents of ours. It's not the money making $6 million a year. It's the people making $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month that you're going to help. And they're going to say, I've got my house payment paid forever. Those are the people that call me all the time and text me and say, Gene, thank you. You've changed my life. This is awesome. So I want you guys to understand we're going to change the whole industry. If I want everybody in this room to make more than $3,000 a month, next time I talk in front of you guys, I want everybody to be making $3,000 a month. That's it. $36,000 a year. Would that change your life? Raise your hand. Come on. Come on, really. Your house payment's paid. Boom. So I want everybody, and that's only 6 on your first and 6 on your second. 6 on your first and 6 on your second. 12 people. Go do it.
That's catchy. It's like 6 by 6.
I love your foot. It's just going boom, 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 boom. It's cranking. I love it. So I want to, that's me. I'm like, "Arr." So I want to say this. When Google started and Apple started and Netflix, I remember thinking Netflix was a terrible idea. How many think it's a good idea now, right? Google, like that's really couldn't go up someone better than Google, you know? Apple, why not pair? I mean, it is now. Apple's cool. Google's cool. eXp is going to be cool. You're here at the beginning, the epicenter, before we have 2 million agents worldwide, before we're growing across South America and Europe and through Japan and the UK and Australia. When we open in the Philippines, you guys are here. People say, what was it like back in 2018 when the stock was at, what, 12, 11, 80 a share? You getting $12 a share? What was it like? How much did you buy? Oh, I didn't buy any. I was scared. I wasn't sure it was going to last, you know, or whatever. And I'm telling you, this is our moment. I mean, it is amazing what's going to happen.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.